Welcome to the show where we build it live to entrepreneurs with something to prove. No scripts, no safety nets, just AI and drive. Marshall's got the code, Clay's making moves. This is AI Lab, where the future gets built in real time.
Speakman, and we've got my buddy Marshall Briggs with us. Hey, say Marshall. Say hi, Marshall. Anyway, so
How you doing,
all
guys?
right, there's nobody there live because we record this and send it out, but soon enough, maybe we'll have a live audience and we can interact. But we've been struggling with
Yep.
the technical difficulties of using Google Meets for our podcast. And we actually started using Zoom, and we found that we didn't like how the transcription data flowed to our database. So then we started using Google Meets, which has really good transcription technology, which is great for our database. But we had so many technical difficulties recording on the Google Meets. We didn't have good quality, didn't have good audio. So we've paid the big bucks, the $60, to step up to the best podcast platform in the world, Descript. So, we got a major sponsor who paid for today's episode so that we could do this. And we spent the last 20 minutes before we hit the record button fixing all the things that weren't working. We couldn't hear each other. There was too many echoes. So we continue the trend of being not just a moderately funny show, but also a show that has major technical difficulties, even when we pay for the top dollar platform. So, but anyway, the show must go on. We're going to do the show. And this is AI Live, which is AI for entrepreneurs. And we also have a theme song, which we can't figure out how to load in the beginning, but we will play the theme song. But not before we introduce today's show, which our AI Live show director has given us some performance reviews. And we got pretty harsh reviews, Marshall. So look at the screen. We have a total rating of 3.5 out of 5 for entertainment value, but we have an even worse rating of 2 out of 5 for alignment with our mission. So this episode is titled Urgent
Hmm.
Cancellation Risk because our show director has said if we don't get our show more on track with our mission, that we might as well cancel the show. So it's bad news for both of us if we can't get back on track. But the key issue is that our show director thinks that we have an audience mismatch because our audience is supposed to be entrepreneurs who want to use AI in their business. But according to our show director, we've been going way too fast and we've been going way too technical in what we've been showing. So the direction from the top, from our bosses, is that we need to slow down and we need to focus more on things that entrepreneurs can understand and use, show more business ROI, and we need to fix our production quality, which we've tried to, and we've spent the last half an hour not doing. So, and then here you go, the encouragement at the bottom.
Yeah.
Your hosts need to step up. So I don't know. This is like one of those turn the ship around or just abandon the ship. So I'm committed to not abandoning the ship. So we better turn it around. Marshall, any thoughts for our AI Live director? I mean, he
Yep.
can't really fire us. He's not a real human, but he will listen to the transcript of this show. What are your thoughts? How do you respond to our show director?
I think it has a few good points here. Our entertainment value, we can definitely step that up. I mean, sometimes we're just down to business and we don't really know how to turn that into entertainment, but I think that's just something we're going to have to work on, maybe making some more jokes or doing things that seem to be a little more
Yeah, I actually
interesting
think
for
maybe
our audience.
we're
And
trying
I
too
think we
hard to be
can slow it
entertaining,
down.
maybe.
You know
That's
what I
why
mean?
we have a better entertainment rating than we have a mission alignment rating.
Yeah. Yeah, and our speed, of course, I think, yeah, we should slow it down and maybe do some more in-depth like explanations of how that works or why we do a certain thing. But yeah, I'm against canceling the show. I think we get a lot out of it.
Well, pretty
So
if
I'm gonna
if
have
the
to
AI
disagree
Live
on that
director
part.
insists that we cancel the show, then I'll just delete the AI Live director and we'll hire a new one. That's how it'll work. So we have veto power over that. But we should be listening to it because its job is to help us produce a better show. And it is quite smart. So here we go. But just because we need to maintain some of that entertainment value, we will jump to our song that, of course, we created on this show for this show as our intro. And at some point, we'll figure out how to actually get it into the intro. But for our viewers' enjoyment, we're going to play the first 30 seconds of the intro song, and our audio quality, hopefully, should be better than the previous two times that we've tried this before. So here we go.
Welcome to the show where we build it live to entrepreneurs with something to prove. No scripts, no safety nets, just
Can you hear
AI
that,
and
Marshall?
drive. Marshall's got the code, Clay's making moves. This is
Yeah.
AI Lab, where the future gets built in real time. We're not just talking, we're showing you how. Rocket hubs rising, the future is now. AI Lab, AI Lab. Come along for the ride.
Okay, so that was kind of fun, entertaining, but from a practical standpoint, so listen up, AI live show director. The reason that we make a song like this is because we have the ability in our Claude project comprehend and get an analysis of the things that we're doing and then be able to produce things like recaps and graphics to give us an analysis of what we're doing, like the one that I just put up on my screen, which is how the AI live show director came up with its review of our show and gave us our ratings. And when you produce information with AI, an analysis, a recap, a summary, insights, there's some really cool things you can do with it. People don't like just reading text. So one of the things that you can do is ask your AI to build you a graphic visualization, which is what we're showing here. So give us charts so you can see our entertainment rating, our useful info rating, our mission alignment. And you can see a quick little recap of each episode that we've done. Top five insights gleaned from the episodes that we've done before. And here you've got this big block of critical issues, cancellation risks. And then you've got even some suggestions for what Clay and Marshall have done really well and their worst moments in the show. So you've got this output of information. You can put it in a visualization to send out, or you can ask it, create a song or create a video or create a musical. And then you can take that information and you can put it into other formats. So, when we were trying to come up with how do we do a theme song for the show, Marshall and I are not going to be the quality to write our own theme songs, but we took our first few transcripts of the show and fed it into our Claude project, who understands what our show is supposed to be, how it's supposed to work, what's important to us. And we asked it create a theme song that helps us introduce the show to listeners. And then we took that into a specific platform called Suno, which takes lyrics and makes songs. So, just the fact of us playing a theme song that AI wrote, it's the process that's important. If you're having a company meeting, or if you are trying to do, even if you're trying to write a love song for your wife, or write a birthday song for your friend, um, the process is important. So, Marshall, you want to talk more about you work a lot in Claude projects and talk about the process of how we use AI in a level two mode to get the kind of output that you could do something with.
Yeah, I mean, AI in a level two mode, I mean, you're using, trained projects. So you have your project data that's already put into your Claude project. And on top of that, we also have a list of project instructions. And in a previous show, we showed you how we have a talent team that determines the outputs that we get from each or Claude project. And so while doing that, all those things are working together. And in this process, all you have to do is prompt it, but you have to prompt it a few times so that you get the correct output out of it. Because it's never usually the case the first time you put something in there that you're going to get your exact output that you want. But yeah, see the project instructions here. We created that through templates created by Claude. It's interesting that we just keep feeding Claude its own outputs. And so through these templates, then we can get the correct outputs that we want. So yeah, that's basically it. I mean, the process of it, that's like Clay kind of explained that already before. Like that's like, you have multiple things and then you go from one to another tool, AI tool to another AI tool. And I think I want to reiterate, Rome wasn't built in one day. So you have to really, you have to go
Yeah.
through the
Like every
process.
time
Right,
I'm
Clay?
speaking to, I don't know, a few friends or I'm doing a presentation to a group of entrepreneurs. I just did one in Philadelphia for a room of like 90 business owners. I think I take it for granted that people understand how to do things like building projects in AI. And so I think I kind of go over it too fast because you and I both spend a good chunk of our days work inside of one of 10 or 15 projects that's been specially trained to handle that part of the business. And maybe we take it for granted how much of a like process or art it is to set up a good project. It's like hiring a really good person. You have to hire a good person who's really good at the job you need done, and then has a really good job description, and then has really good training. And then you still have to ask it really good questions to do really important things, which is the human part, right? You could build a project, but it's not going to do any work until you assign it something to do that's meaningful. And then that's all about, well, what's important to solve in your business. So, something like our AI Live show director, it has really incredibly clear instructions about what its job is to do. It's got really good knowledge. It's got all the transcripts from all of our shows, but it's also got our mission, our core values, the products that we want to create. It's got a best practices and guidelines of like the best podcasts in the world, which is probably why it's so critical of our podcasts is like we hired the best show director that you could hire and we're not up to speed. So it's probably pretty frustrated with us as it should be. Um, but part of that is you can use AI to help you use AI. So when we didn't start off understanding how to build an amazing project with the best instructions and the best knowledge, we actually built a project to help us understand how to build projects. And we gave that project the instructions. I think it's in here. It's like our yeah, our like HR director, right? Is its job is to help build the project instructions for other projects. So again, like if you have to hire a team of really amazing people, the first great hire you might need to make is a talent hire director or an HR director who knows how to go out and get the best people in the world, how to train them and how to give them good job descriptions if you don't know how to do that. So, we use projects to help us build other projects, and we use projects to help us find out, okay, who are the best thinkers and minds in the world at creating podcasts? And then we have that project do research and we say, okay, now give us a document that's like the 10 best practices of all these people of what they preach. And then we take that and then now we give that document to our AI Live show director. And then our AI Live show director has a document of the best practices guidelines from the best people in the world who've ever done it. And you could replicate that through every area of your business. If you're designing a product, if you're making a website, if you're building a factory system, if you're designing a marketing campaign, like our marketing and brand director has good instructions, good training, but it has a best practices document. And maybe we don't go over this or we go over it too fast on each episode, but I mean, this is real ROI here. If you had a marketing director at your company, we use a product or a project, but you could also have a real marketing director at your company and have this also coexisting with your marketing director. And your marketing director could be running everything through this project as a thought partner. But this project had a best practices document that was all the leading guidance from Steve Jobs and Simon Sinek and Seth Godin and Alex Hormozy and Richard Branson. And, these are these are the best people that have ever existed in this field. And we've got a whole guidelines document about the principles and guidelines that they have used to be successful. It's baked in to our project so that when we need to create a new post on LinkedIn or we need to come up with a new strategy or we need to introduce a new product, we just ask the question. And all of those best practices are going to be put in place and executed. So this is our attempt to slow it down and show a little bit more of practical ways that we use our projects. But this could be used for any kind of area of your business. And you can see here, we use it for lots of different areas of our business. Any more thoughts on projects before we get into our next portion, Marshall?
Yeah, I mean, Clay kind of just hit on the head there. Like basically, our projects help us develop everything in our business and helps us manage different aspects, including creating ideas for us, whether it's coding ideas, marketing ideas. So it, like Clay said, it's all aspects of your business, and there's an unlimited amount of possibilities when you build these projects. It can be just about anything out there that you want to do if you just create the project instructions correctly using templates
Mhm.
and all of that magic. So
Cool.
that's all I got.
I want to show you one other thing that I just thought of. I was going to introduce the next portion of our show. We're going to showcase an internal tool that we've built for our company, and we're beta testing it, Marshall, myself, and Derek. And it's a tool we call Astra Intelligence. But the main headline is this is a tool where AI is connected to all of our data. Every single meeting that we've recorded, every transcript, every summary, internal meetings and external meetings, which is a ton of data right there. More data than you could ever get into in any AI project or ChatGPT right there. This is the entire history of all of your meeting data. And then all of our company financials, all of our core strategy documents, best practices guidelines in every department, our mission statement, VTO, targets, our product roadmap, our strategies for everything. So there is a massive set of data. And then also different news feeds that are important to us. So we are an AI technology company, so we want to understand every day what's happening in AI news. What are the newest discoveries? What are the newest product launches? What are the newest upgrades and capabilities? That alone takes hours a day if I'm just trying to do that or if Marshall's trying to do that. We want our AI to get that information and then understand what is relevant to our company in here. I don't really need to listen to hours of it. I just need to know what's relevant to our company, what's important to us, and why. And then there's all the other information that exists in the world. There's web search, right? But I want our AI to be able to search for information whenever it needs it based on what's important to us. So we built here and it's probably showing too small. I probably need to increase the view here, which I'll zoom it in so we can see it better. We built here a tool that is connected to all of that data and can easily be chatted with like a general chat agent. And it goes and finds all the information and responds back in natural human language. Um, and it's really easy to watch it, but it's really, if you got into what it was like, what it looked like in the background, it's actually quite complex. But the thing I want to do first is I want to go into the agent who built it, which is, I'm sorry, the project that built it. And let's see. And I want the project that built it basically gave us all the directions for how to set it up, the prompts, everything like that. I want the project to give us a summary of what it is and what it does. And I think that I saved that here. I'm going to look at this, see if it did. If not, I'm going to ask it to build it again. But I want to show you what the product does. No, that's not it. So if I was better prepared, let's just do it. So here I have a a synced copy of the code of the product. So the code is what is behind the product and what makes it work. So it's already synced to my project. So I'm going to ask our code director from the repo attached or in your project knowledge. Sometimes it needs really clear terms there. Please create a visualization. I use that word all the time and spell it right rarely. A visualization showing the capabilities, and let's do this, and potential business ROI, hear me, show director, for the Astra Intelligence product. All right. So let's show our viewers what the product is from a product standpoint in a graphical form. Again, this is just another example of how you could socialize and understand information. But I want to ask it what it thinks is, and we've discussed it internally. So I'm hoping based and give us its ideas. So you've played around with the project enough, Martin, like this.
Oh man, I think there's a multitude of potential use cases for it. But I mean, you could, like, we already have hooked up some of our financial documents. We could probably do financial forecasting in the future. It can on a dime just let you know how much revenue you're making versus how much money is going, like, that you're spending, and then it can probably predict, okay, in X amount of days, this is what you're looking at. Like, you're going to lose this much money, and this is how much you're going to have left over. Make predictions like that. Or on the other hand, we have a bunch of meetings and transcripts that we have put into the database for Astra. And Astra, you can call back on any meeting what someone said. So let's say, for instance, Clay and I were on a one-on-one call about building Claude projects. And I was able to query Astra for it to tell me, okay, what's the step-by-step process in building a Claude project? And it walked me through it based off of what was said in the call by Clay. And so you can call back on anything just in case if, like, you forgot and you're like, oh, what would someone say in the meeting? Like, what should I be doing? And boom, it'll have you right there. It gives you a straight answer. So there's a lot of use case. I think we're just scratching the surface of the use cases and probably not getting in depth enough with what we could do with Astra. but from that, this is kind of all we know at the moment. So we're
Yeah.
still testing it
So here it
out, you
is.
know?
Let's check it out. It gave us this sort of graphic here. So a strategic intelligence platform for our business ecosystem. So it is a team chat tool and it's a collaboration platform. It's also an ecosystem of intelligence, what kind of Marshall was talking about it. It really does a good job of understanding how to get all the info it needs and return it back. And then eventually, I think it could power an entire AI learning community, which is kind of where we're trying to go with AI Rocket. So this is, in our mind, one of the first products that could be the ecosystem for how people can learn to use AI better in their business. So it does have real-time team intelligence. I think that's the thing that stands out the most to me is you can, in a team group chat, you can bring Astra into any conversation by just mentioning Astra. So you can chat with each other, but you can also have infinite information recall in the group chat. Um, and then you can actually visualize it within the group chat too. And we'll show all this in a second, but we're trying to show how to use AI in your business, not just a good tool to use, because right now this tool is only available to us internally. Eventually, we'll have our investors start using it, and then maybe we'll turn it into a product. But more importantly, is the process of how we're building it. So it's got a good the ability to synthesize data. It delivers intelligence to not just one person, but everybody in the chat. It's got a great analytics engine. And then here's its case for making business ROI potential. Well, it's just like throwing up massive numbers for us. Okay, so we could have a lot of people in our community using it. It could make us a very valued company. It could, so really the use case here is more like towards our specific business. It's not really throwing a use case for like a general business. That's because it's been trained off of our goals and what we're trying to accomplish. So I wonder if a better prompt would have been, what would the potential ROI be for another person's business or someone, just a general other person, because that's just giving us our own internal thing. So let's go to the tool itself. Let me get out of this and I'll share this tab instead. All right, so I want to do this here, a use case here. So this is a pretty common one. I'm going to ask Astra, we're in a private chat. So it's just me and Astra in the chat. So this is private chat mode. I'm going to ask Astra, um, and because we use EOS to run our company, I'm going to say, please summarize our last four L10 meetings, right? So very, very simple response or request, but it is going to understand what to do in this case. It's going to go grab the summaries and transcripts of the last four leadership meetings that we had and return a summary response. Now, while that is thinking, and I hope this works because we just built this yesterday, I'm going to navigate over to the team chat and Astra should still be doing its work. Oh, and here's our team chat, which, we're all on. So I'm on here, Marshall's on here. We all chat back and forth. And you can see here, Derek just responded to something that I posted earlier, which I asked Astra a question about please summarizing our financials. So I won't open that up right now for sake of discretion. But if I asked Astra here, please provide a detailed analysis of the action items that Marshall needs to do this week or this month. Let's do that this month from all of our recent meetings. Then it's going to go to work and looking at all the data it has access to. Should go to work. Don't see Astra working on that. Let's go back to the chat here. Astra did answer this. Okay, summary of last four L10 meetings. It's giving me a pretty good response here. Now, first, let's look at its sources. So it's showing us that it pulled up our L10 weekly meetings from the last 4 weeks. That's exactly what we wanted it to do. And it went and searched its own memory, which is what we wanted to do. And it gave us a real good breakdown of here is the summary of the meeting, gives us an executive summary at the top, recent developments, action items, executive summary, recent developments, action items. So it's breaking it down. And then if I want to look at this as a visualization, because again, most people just don't want to read, I'm going to create a visualization where it's going to take that information and create a nice graphic summary. So while it's doing that, you go back over to the team chat. I see Astra didn't answer that question. Maybe I need to do this. Please give me a list of action items that Marshall is working on. All right. So there. Now Astra's going to go get that information. Oh, of course, as I say this, Astra is not responding in the team chat. Are you getting the same thing, Marshall, on Astra? I don't know why. Astra was responding in the team chat earlier today, but maybe something is not happening. But anyway, let's go to a previous use case here. So yeah, we had asked Astra earlier, looking at the last L10, what to-dos should have been created. So this is actually a question to Astra. We have to-dos that are created within our company. This question was actually look at the last L10. What to-dos should have been created? So this is not just what to-dos are created, but additionally, which ones should have been created that maybe we missed. So we've got a list here of myself, for Derek, and for Marshall, and then the sources that it came from. And then again, I can create a visualization and I can show this and see if there's any other visualizations that are ready. I can go back to our private chat here. It's still generating. It takes about a minute or so to generate these visualizations, and then it should give us a nice graphic outlook. So, Marshall, you've been playing with this. You have your own private chat, just like I have mine, and you have the team chat. What kind of things have you been using it for in the private chat?
So, like I said, I used it to look up how you were building your Claude projects because I needed to basically touch back on that because I couldn't remember how we were doing that. And then for my own purposes, also, I've been using Astra to query our database of meeting transcripts and then finding, our hurting points, like our stuff that's bothering us so that we can solve problems with workflows. And so it's been able to generate a few, and it's been pretty good so far, but I still need to query it a little more just to get a better response out of it. But yeah, it's been able to come up with a few solutions that have been pretty interesting. But yeah, mine's definitely not been. I feel like I haven't used it to come up with to dos, which honestly, I think I might do that today. See what it would
Yeah,
come up with me
I've been
for to
using it
dos
for what kind of things
for
should I
work.
be working on that are not on my to-do list based on all of our meetings. Sometimes we have lots of good conversation in the meetings and then we set to-dos, and there might be, it's like, reading between the lines of what are the bigger things that I might be thinking about that have just not made it onto my to-do list. One of the things right now I'm thinking about is why is Aster taking, let's go back and see. Oh, and now the visualization isn't even there. No, there it is. Okay, now we've got our visualization here. So let's take a look at the visualization here. So again, we don't always like to read things, so sometimes it's just nicer to see them. So here's a nice visualization. This is a visualization of our last L10 meeting as a group. So showing dashboards on different project status, summaries of different things that we've talked about. Um, Not bad. Much better than reading from a just a memo sheet. Although there is a lot of reading in here. I could do with a little bit less reading and a little bit more graphics, but still not bad. So, there, and if I don't like this, I could just hit retry and it's just going to regenerate that visualization again into a format that I like better. And also I could hit a reply here to Astra and say, okay, like, okay, just focus on the most recent L10 instead. So then, I could send a different response because, okay, summarizing four of them at the same time didn't give me the clarity that I want. So I won't do that. But again, to get into the weeds, which some people don't want to do, and we realize that most entrepreneurs won't get to this level, but I want to be consistent. We talk about level one, level two, level three. A project that we talked about on the first of the call is a level two, and the workflow that I have on my screen is a level three level of building AI. And most people won't build this themselves. But I think as a business owner, you need to understand what level three AI is and what it can do for your business, because Astra that we were just playing with is a level three product of AI, which means behind Astra, and this is what is behind Astra, is a message comes in, 1,000 lines of code are understanding what is this message, what is it asking, what information do I need to go get. An agent is sitting here that has instructions like a project. What do I do? What's my job? What are the things that are important to the company? What do I need to make sure that I respond with? And then all of these things below it are tools that it can use to get information, to understand information. And then it takes all that information and it puts it into our AI model, which is Gemini 2.5 Flash for this one, but you could use any of the large language models here that fit. So you can see here, here's our web search area, here's our financial documents, here's a couple database storage areas, here's our news and information, here's our meeting transcripts. And the thing to know is that the holy grail of using AI is, can you get all of your important data to connect to it? And can you give AI the instructions and the knowledge of how to use all that info? And if you can, and it's not easy to do, but if you can, then you can get it to answer, pretty much any question that you can think of with relative pretty good intelligence. So I'm going to follow up with Astra because I just wanted to focus on one meeting instead of the four that were in this summary. And in pretty simple common language, I could ask about, like Marshall said, I can have it generate a cash flow statement and a burn rate analysis and a predictive forecast for anything that I would want it to do. And I could also, in the next chat, ask it to give me a list of things Marshall's working on. I could ask it to generate a new LinkedIn strategy based on what's important to the company. I could ask it to think of the next 5 products that we should create and the potential ROI they'd have on our business. And I don't have to give it any more information because it's already connected to all the information that it would need to know to answer these questions. So here's its reply, focusing on the most recent L10, and it knows that meeting when it happened, and it's going to give me the response of what happened there and who said what and who's doing what and who needs to do what, team actions, summary, and its meeting source, which it got right. It got right there. And again, I can create a visualization if I wanted to share this. Um, but for now, I'm just happy with that response. And then having, the ability to have this
Mm.
intelligence built into your team chat means that now you can use something like this instead of your Slack or your Teams, but you have a super intelligent member of the team who has access to every piece of information in the company and can respond on request. Not only that, we feed the history of our chats into a database, and Astra has access to those chats. So if Marshall and I and Derek have been having a discussion about something, and then we ask Astra for thoughts on that discussion, Astra can just gather the information from the chat history and give us thoughts. So it's like a member of your team that's built in. And that's a practical use case of level three AI in your business. So thoughts on that, Marshall, before we try like one more fun thing that might give us an entertainment boost to close the show.
Yeah, I can't remember what Derek was calling Astra, but it was like a an executive
A super
assistant.
executive
A
assistant. Yeah.
what did he say? Yes, a super executive assistant, and I think he's kind of right with that, where it could act as an executive in your company and basically just like start to guide you in just about anything while it's working with all of your company's data. And so it's, I don't know, I see it as super helpful. I know it's helpful for us so far. So I think anyone that's working with other products like Slack or Teams, this could also maybe not be an alternative, not yet, but it's definitely up there with like how helpful it would be once we finally get it
Hmm.
all honed out.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Okay, so we have a few things here to look at. Let's see. Hold on a second. I'm about to share my tab, but I want to make sure that I'm going to be able to show the right thing.
Mm.
Yes, I am. Here we go. Let's share this tab. Okay, so if you weren't aware, we are making a podcast, right? That's the whole purpose of this show. But I want to walk through what is the business case and the ROI for us doing this show. The realization is that we're only going to have a pretty small group of people actually watch the show. Now, over time, more people might watch the show because they want to dive into how to use AI like we are using AI. But the reality is, most entrepreneurs are not AI companies trying to use AI. They're roofing companies or the real estate companies or their marketing companies or the service companies. And they just want to pick up the best practices of how do I use AI in my business. So we've got live episodes that are a full hour long. And, we're going to take these episodes and we'll eventually make some topic related clips. So if you want to search clips on how to build a level two project, we'll have a bunch of clips like a portion of today's show where you could do that. And some people I do know watch the full videos. It's not a lot. Um, but I think the bigger use case for us is Marshall and I realize it's important to capture what we're doing as a business and get it into transcripts. So then our Astra and our Claude projects can access everything that we say and talk about on these calls and this podcast and turn it into our unique product, our unique insight, our unique intelligence. And our company just happens to be a company who wants to help entrepreneurs use AI in their business. But by giving Astra and Claude all of the transcripts of our shows and then asking it, what could a commercial roofing company use from everything we've talked about to improve their business, we're going to be able to deliver some good answers and responses and recommendations to them because you know, there's a lot of hours of information that can be parsed out of it. So there's that. And then we also we use AI to do this, and we've done it in other episodes. We won't walk through it in this episode, but we do these little quick, like 8 to 10 minute recaps about how we're using AI and how it relates to entrepreneurs. So, these top 5 moments. And each one of them is really a use case scenario breakdown of what we're doing. And it's it's funny, it's not Marshall and I, it's an AI that generates them. And so you can go on our YouTube channel if you didn't know this, and you could watch either the full episodes or you could watch these, case or these recap episodes. And I'll play one of the recap episodes just for a moment so you can hear what it's like, and I'll speed it up. And you can see, the cover art that's getting produced is kind of fun, but there is a lot of good information in these recaps. Oh, what happened? Oh, there we go.
Is it playing? I don't know
All
if I
right,
can
so I
hear
don't know.
anything.
Yeah, I don't know if the audio is coming through
If
that
it's even
well. This
playing.
is might be a YouTube issue or not. But anyway, so it's a nice little quick sort of overview of what we cover in a week, not a per episode, but on a week to week basis. So if you are interested in what we're doing and you do find these recaps, you can kind of quickly understand some of the use cases we're working in a slightly humorous, sort of fictitious way here. But just building these podcasts is in and of itself a use case on how to use AI in your business because you could take your quarterly meetings or your L10 summaries. And L10 is just a word for our leadership meetings if you're familiar with EOS. Uh, and you could take any set of meetings or any set of documents or any set of marketing information, and you could ask a level two projects to help you turn it into a podcast. And that's just another way to help your own people understand context or your customers understand it. Um, it's just one of the great tools of using AI is you can go from having Word docs and memos into songs and podcasts and websites really easily. And that's an exciting thing for your customers and for your team members. The thing that I think is super funny is you look at this screen, like, look how bad AI is still at like spelling different things. So you got the episode R3Z, which is not at all, it's supposed to be episode 003. And then at the top, look at this, Episophia 3. So another fail there. And then you've got Rocket Hub with an IUB in it. And then you've got Aki files with two I's. So, like, this is a great example of, yeah, we're not close
Whatever that
to
means. Yeah.
AI taking over the world yet because AI is still failing third grade spelling in some areas. So, oh, look at the bottom right corner, special CRME edition. Like, I don't think there's a single word that's spelled correctly on this
Yeah.
episode cover.
Edition.
The only thing that it got right was AI, its own
Nope.
name. So, like, my wife teaches 4 and 5 year olds, and that's about the only thing they can spell right is their own name. So I think AI is doing the same thing here. It can't spell anything other than its own name. Look at the letters around the superheroes. It's kind of it's trying to spell Rocket Hub in some way, but look how many letters there are that don't belong. It's like the entire alphabet is being mixed in with one word. I don't even know what to make of that. Yeah.
It's like an
Oh,
alien
maybe it's trying
language.
to indoctrinate us into its
Yeah. That's
language.
that's so
I don't know. But, I can't
funny.
complain about
Yeah.
the rest. It kind of looks cool.
Oh my God.
I don't know. What is this guy up at the top doing? This is like the evil warlord, like coming up from space and attacking us? I don't know. It looks like a kind of like a monster bad guy up in the top right. I don't know that that's called for. Um, Yeah, so I'm not
Yeah.
sure
I
what's
don't
going
know.
on, but this was again built by our AI live director who's trying to make a poster for our last episode. But anyway, so we're going to be doing that again. We're going to be posting up this as part of the podcast, and then we'll be making a recap towards the end of this week. And next week, Marshall, I think we should spend a little time on vibe coding, which was like the hot topic phrase of like the second quarter this year. And now I think people just call it AI coding. But the concept that you can build a website in the amount of time that it took you to build a Word document, and now you can build your own app in the amount of time that it used to take you to build a PowerPoint. So I think we should get into that a little bit because
Right.
so many companies could use small little apps in their company, even if they are not a software company. Like everyone could use like a little app to do something, right? Because buying software in companies is expensive, and most of the time you buy enterprise software and it only does half of what you need to do, and everyone's annoyed by it. But you can really use a level two project to explain this is what we want, this is what we're trying to solve, this is the process, these are our pain points. And you can get some really good stuff that you could actually use and other people in your company can use. And that's kind of the definition of building your own app. So I think next week we should show some of the apps that we built internally
Yep.
for us, and Astra is one of them, and then show how people might start building a simple app for themselves. It doesn't require that you can code, doesn't require that you even know how code works. If you can use a level two project, you can kind of build your own apps. So I think that will be one of the main points of next episode. Anything else you think we should touch on next week before
Right.
we say goodbye?
No, I think vibe coding is perfect because that's basically what we do at Help or Rocket Hub. I mean, we our products are built from vibe coding, and it's honestly the future. And so maybe we'll show vibe coding and how it functions in different softwares that we use, different AI tools, because we've shown some examples of it, but I think we've already created N8N, we vibe coded with that and then created the workflow for it. So showing how it works in Bolt and other AI tools that do different things, I think it'll be really interesting
All right, cool.
to our
So
viewers.
we'll come up
So
with some ideas of things that we want to. I don't know. Vibe code may not be
yes,
the hot phrase
yes, we'll
anymore.
have
I haven't heard it mentioned in a while, but we'll have to check that and see. It really
maybe
is
we should
just
call it
like,
something else.
yeah, I mean,
Maybe we
maybe
should
it
create
should
our
be,
own word for it.
I don't know. We'll have to come up with a better idea, but it's really just AI coding. But vibe coding is cool because the influencers and fanboys all say vibe coding on Instagram and YouTube. But it is the idea that you just have to
Mhm.
have kind of a vibe about what you want to do. You don't even have to know how to code and you can just create it. Although we can talk about all the pitfalls of that because a lot of people create things that halfway work. And then when then it doesn't work and they get frustrated and they just throw it away.
Yeah.
That is a part of the vibe code culture is you can just easily create something that halfway works. And then you have people just have no idea how to make it all the way work. So anyway, we'll talk about that on next episode.
Yeah.
All right, Marshall. Cool. Great episode. And it was exciting to work
Yeah.
with you. And I'll see you on the next one. All right.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Likewise. See you later, Clay.